What's happening, Papper people? Now, I had a person send me a message and they asked me,
Hi, Johnson. I subscribe to your amazing YouTube channel. More people should subscribe. Thanks for all the info. I've never been able to tolerate CPAP. I decided against the Inspire. Are you familiar with, or have you any comment on the Nyxoah Genio device? Thanks for your time, Johnson. Seriously, more people should subscribe. Your channel's amazing. And at the very least, they should gently tickle that like button.
So that's what we're going to do right now. I'm going to review the Genio, having never touched it, having zero experience at all. So if you go to the website genio.nyxoah.com, I guess that's the company's name. I think if you say it backwards, it probably makes more sense. Nyxoah. So on their website, what is OSA? I don't think we really need to look at that, but for those of you that don't know, obstructive sleep apnea is a complete cessation, a complete blockage of your airway. It can be by damn near anything. Now, the usual suspects of this obstruction tend to be enlarged tongue, your tongue falling back into your airway. It can be from a narrow palate. It can be from your soft palate falling back into your airway. It can be from an enlarged uvula. And it can also just be from a very, very small airway itself, like a drinking straw, like really, really small. Those are some of the reasons, fatty tissue in general, but that's pretty much what obstructive sleep apnea is. So let's look at what is Genio. Now, I did already take a brief look, a quick look at this, and what it looks like is a slightly better version of the Inspire. This is hypoglossal nerve stimulation. Inspire is like a repackaged name. If you look up hypoglossal nerve stimulation, you'll see all kinds of stuff done with this. The Genio is pretty much the exact same thing, but it's improved, and let me tell you why. What it does is it does not have a battery implant. If you remember my video, I'll link to it. The Inspire has a battery and an implant. It's up around your shoulder area, and then there's a lead that comes up and innervates your hypoglossal nerve. Now, the hypoglossal nerve is for tongue movement. It'll stiffen up your tongue, give you a little tongue boner. That's the way Inspire is supposed to work. You have a certain amount of voltage that you send up to innervate the hypoglossal nerve, and that is supposed to stiffen your tongue up and keep it from falling back into your airway. Doesn't do crap if your entire jaw falls back into your airway. Does nothing if your soft palate sags into your airway. Does nothing if your uvula falls back into your airway. Does nothing if you have fatty tissue that's basically crushing your airway. Really just solves the tongue falling back. Though it's a common problem, usually people don't have just one. They'll have kind of a multitude of these kind of interacting with each other. So that's simply just the way it is. However, last time I did my Inspire thing, my Inspire video, I was hit with a lot of Jason, you suck. I love Inspire. It's the best thing ever. I love it. I also got a lot of people that said Inspire sucks. I'm going to sue. So it was kind of balanced. So why do I say this is a better version of Inspire? Let me show you how Genio works. So instead of having an implant planted in your body with a battery, instead what they have is this little implant right here. They describe it as minuscule. They also say that it creates a bilateral innervation of the hypoglossal nerve. It has these little prongs that come out and surround the hypoglossal nerve. They say this is a very small incision under the chin. They implant it, and that's it. Now, when you go to bed, you have this little guy right here that I'm circling so diligently with my mouse cursor. You can see this is a pad, disposable pad that basically suctions this device. This device apparently powers the device, much like you can wirelessly charge your cell phone, I'm imagining. But you have this device that you just put on at night. Now, is it going to be functional? Is it going to work or not? I don't know, but because it innervates and it works on the hypoglossal nerve, just like Inspire, I'm going to assume, and I don't think this is a bad assumption, it's going to have the exact same effects or the exact same success rate as you would expect to see with an Inspire device or any other hypoglossal nerve stimulation. And that is, if the obstruction is caused by your tongue falling back into your airway, it'll have some level of success. Again, if you haven't looked at the literature on this, anytime they call something a success, it's always based on cutting the apnea-hypopnea index in half. If you have an apnea-hypopnea index of, let's just say, that it mentions moderate to severe, let's go ahead and say 30 apnea-hypopnea index or AHI in the future. If that 30 is cut down to 15, you're still waking up 15 times an hour. It's still extremely disrupted sleep. And this isn't even including things such as respiratory effort related arousals, which are small decreases in airflow that still cause you to wake up. So still frequent awakenings, you're still gonna wake up tired, you're still gonna feel like crap, especially if you're considering an apnea hypopnea index of still 15, pretty damn high. Now, even if you have 20, cut in half is 10. Not exactly a level of success that I would want for myself, my wife, my children, my father, my mother, my sister. To me, that's not good enough. However, you have to balance that with what got you to this point. If you're using CPAP and you have literally tried every trick in the book, you've even done a consultation with moi at axgsleepdiagnostics.com. Always find a way to work that in. If you've done everything that you can to exhaust your PAP therapy and it's just not working for you, you're just not digging it, this is something I would actually consider. And the reason is the implant is just right there. Now, whether it works or not, I don't know, but that seems like it's much less invasive. And to get it out of there would just be a simple incision, pull it out. Those are just my thoughts. I'm really curious what you guys think about it. One of the major gripes with Inspire was their customer service. So some of the people that really did not like Inspire had really bad support from them. And by that, I mean, sometimes the voltage required would be high enough and it wasn't really effective. The people still weren't feeling rested and they started having numbing and nerve damage they felt from the place where Inspire was implanted. And they were saying that having it removed was a much bigger deal than it seems the Genio would be. So of the two, if you're like, I'm dead set, I'm never using CPAP, it ain't gonna happen, maybe this is something that you could consider. However, I would personally try something such as the iNap before I ever touch the Genio. iNap is non-invasive. It's a little suction. It's simple. Check out my video on iNap if you haven't seen that. It's non-surgical and it works by using negative air pressure. Check out my video on that. I'll leave a link for it at the very end of the video as well. So my personal final conclusion, without ever having tried it or spoken with anyone that's ever tried it, is better than Inspire, but still not as good as something like iNap, and definitely not as good as something like CPAP. What are your thoughts on it? I open the floor to you guys. Comment down below if you made it this far and you appreciate the minimal effort put out on this video. Go ahead and tickle that like button ever so softly with a feather. And do me a favor, if you haven't yet subscribed to the channel, it really makes me happy. And that's it. Thanks for watching. I appreciate you. Have a great day or great night whenever you're watching this. Bye.
Why does your mask smell like my feet? Pick up some Mask Bright today.
Thank you to all watching, but an extra thick thanks, buddy, to Doug Toombs, Jason Georgiades, Matthew Lilly, Mona Swearingen, Chung Chu Chen, Patricia Espelong, Ray Troutman, Sarvesh Joshi, and Stuart Hetherington, as well as a big thank you to all my other Patreon supporters and YouTube members. Little tiny thanks, buddy, for you guys.